All right, let's talk about something we've all been through. You set a huge, ambitious goal, right? You're all in, and then a few weeks later, it just fizzles out. It happens to the best of us. But what if the secret to making a massive change wasn't about taking some giant leap? What if it was about something much, much smaller? Today, we're getting into the incredible, almost magical power of marginal gains. You know the feeling. It's a Monday morning, or maybe it's January 1st, and you decide, that's it. Everything's gonna change. You're gonna start hitting the gym, eat nothing but salads, learn a new language, and become a meditation master. All at the same time. Sound familiar? It feels so powerful in the moment, but let's be honest, it almost always ends with us feeling completely overwhelmed and just giving up. So, to see why this grand approach usually fails, I want to introduce you to David. David's an accountant, a numbers guy, and for 12 years, he fell into this exact same trap. His story is, well, it's probably a little more relatable than any of us want to admit. And this cycle, this thing David was stuck in, it actually has a name. We call it the resolution trap. And it's the number one reason that so many of our best intentions just never get off the ground. So for 12 years straight, David would make these huge New Year's resolutions. You know the list. Get in shape, read a book a week, save a ton of money, the whole shebang, all at once. But like clockwork, by the time February rolled around, his motivation was totally gone. And he was right back where he started, feeling like a failure. But here's the thing. The problem wasn't his goals. It was his all-or-nothing strategy. And this really lays out the problem perfectly. On the one hand, you've got these giant leaps David was trying to take. They demand a crazy amount of motivation, which nobody has all the time. It's stressful, and it leads straight to burnout. But on the other hand, you have tiny steps. They're manageable, they're encouraging, and instead of burning you out, they build real sustainable momentum that actually lasts. Okay, so if giant leaps are the problem, what's the solution? Well, this brings us to a really beautiful, simple, and incredibly powerful idea. The 1% equation. And here it is, the core of it all, the 1% better rule. It's just the idea that if you focus on getting just a tiny, tiny bit better every single day, consistently, that's what leads to those jaw-dropping results in the long run. It's not about being perfect, it's just about making a little bit of progress. So let's go back to David. Forget the crazy overhaul. What if, instead, he just asked himself one simple question every morning? How can I get just 1% better today? What do you think would actually happen? Because the answer, this is where things get really mind-blowing. And look, this isn't just some feel-good motivational poster idea. This is backed by cold, hard math. We're talking about the power of compounding. You've heard about it with money, right? Well, it turns out it works exactly the same way for your habits, your skills, your health, everything. So, I want you to take a guess. If you improve by just 1% every single day, how much better are you after 365 days? Now, your brain probably jumps to, well, 365% better, right? 1% a day for a year. Seems logical. But that's not how compounding works. Not even close. The real number is absolutely staggering. You would be nearly 37 times better than when you started. That's not a little bit of improvement. That is a total transformation. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. Each tiny improvement builds on the last, and before you know it, you've got exponential growth. But, and this is a huge but, there's a dark side to this. A warning. Because this principle works in reverse too. What happens if your daily choices make you just 1% worse? You know, that one extra cookie, skipping that one workout, scrolling for an extra hour. It feels like nothing, right? The result is devastating. Over a year, those tiny, seemingly harmless negative choices compound on each other until you've declined by 97%. You've basically wiped out your progress, your skills, your health, all the way down to nearly zero. The gap between success and failure is truly razor thin. I mean, just look at this chart. The difference is just wow. Staying the same, well, you stay at 1. No surprise there. But making that tiny 1% improvement every day, it launches you into a completely different league. Meanwhile, that tiny 1% decline, it brings you terrifyingly close to zero. It's a stark reminder, your tiny daily choices are either building you up into a giant, or they're tearing you down. So the big question is, how do we actually use this? Because this isn't just a fun thought experiment or David's story. It's a practical blueprint for anyone who wants to make a real, lasting change in their life. If you take one thing away from all this, please let it be this idea right here. Forget the overnight success story. Real transformation isn't some dramatic, giant leap. It's a marathon made of 365 tiny, consistent steps. It's less glamorous, for sure, but it is infinitely more powerful. And the best part is just how simple it is to get started. Step 1. Just choose one small thing. Don't try to overhaul your whole life. Just pick one thing. Step 2. Aim for a 1% improvement. That's it. Read just one more page. Do just one push-up. Write one sentence. And step 3, this is the most important part of all. Do it again tomorrow. That consistency, that's the engine that makes the whole thing work. And that really brings us right here to the final and most important question. This isn't just a theory to think about, it's a choice you can make right now. So, what's it going to be? What's that one small thing, that one tiny improvement you can make today? What will your 1% be?